I'm going to do a video on the surface area and the volume of a rectangular prism and on a cylinder. And so here's the deal. Surface area, I'm hoping that you know, is well, easiest way to imagine is if you're going to wrap a box with wrapping paper, right? You'd have to put some paper on the side, some paper on the top, right? Paper on the front, and then you turn your box around and you'd have to put the paper on the bottom and the other side, and then on the back, right? So you actually have 6 sides that you have to cover when you are when you're talking about surface area. So here's the easiest way to think about it. Our rectangular prism has a length, a width, and a height. Now, the width and the length in this example happens to be the bottom, but it's also the same as the top. So the surface area, SA, is going to be equal to the length times the width. Now it's going to be the top and the bottom. So I'm going to say 2LW. And it's going to be the sides, which would be the width times the height. So there's 2 sides, the width times the height. And let's see, we'll use, maybe not orange. I'll use pink. And then the front and the back, which would be the length times the height. So if you look, it's 2LW plus 2WH plus 2LH. Or there is another way you can write this. You could just say, you could factor out the 2 and do the length times width plus the width times the height plus the length times the height. And that's it. So when you do that, let's see if I can get a bigger eraser here. Oh boy, that's not what I wanted. Yeah, I don't need the eraser to be that big. When you do that, you end up with your surface area. So let's just say the length is 10 centimeters, the width is 2 centimeters, and the height is 5 centimeters. So what we'd end up here is this. Surface area equals 2 times, that's going to be 10 times 2 plus 2 times 5 plus 10 times 5. And all I did was I just substituted in the values. Oh boy. So the next line would be, oh goodness me. Flip this over. The next line would be surface area equals 2 times 20 plus 10 plus 50. So the surface area is equal to 2 times, let's say 20, and 10 is 30, 50 is 80, so 2 times 80, so the surface area equals 160 centimeters. Now it is area, so once again, you have to be careful with your units. Because it's area, it's going to be centimeters squared. Now, if we want to know about the volume's a whole other animal, but it's a lot easier, actually. The volume, if you imagine that we're pouring water into this container, what would happen is we're going to pour water into the container. The very first thing that would fill up would be the base. So a lot of times you'll see formula sheets that say volume equals base times height. And what they really mean by that is the area of the base. And the reason why is when you fill in the base with water and it just covers the base, the height is insignificant. So then as it fills up, it's still the area of the base, but it's filling up as tall as the rectangular prism is. So the actual area or volume formula for this would be the area of the base is going to be length times width times the height. So in this example, it's going to be 10 times 2 times 5. So the volume is equal to 100. But remember, because this is volume, it's going to be cubic units. And that makes sense because right here, we have 3 dimensions, which we're multiplying together. Now you might be saying, wait a second, we have 3 dimensions over here, but really, here's an area formula, here's an area, and here's an area. So what we really have is 3 two-dimensional values that we are going to eventually find the sum of and then double. So that's the difference between the surface area of a cylinder and the volume of not a cylinder, a rectangular prism, goodness me. Now we are going to talk about a cylinder, and the cylinder is a little bit different. I'm going to do the volume formula first, and the reason why is because it kind of goes on to what we were just talking about. So if I were to fill it in, the very base is a circle. So once again, it's the volume is equal to the base times the height. Well, the base here is a circle, which is the area of a circle is pi r squared times the height. Now I'm going to say, let's say the height in this example is 10 centimeters, and we'll say the radius is 4 centimeters. So now we just say the volume is equal to pi times 4 squared times 10. The volume is equal to, well, 4 squared is 16, so it's going to be 160 pi, because 16 times 10 is 160. So, and it's centimeters cubed. But we would like an approximation. So we're going to say, what is 160 centimeters cubed? Let's see, pi. And it looks like we get 502.65. 502.65. By the way, the reason why I'm doing the actual values is so you have a chance to check it out yourself. And if you're having problems, you should re-watch and see what happened. All right, so that's the volume of our cylinder. Now, here's the deal. The surface area is a little bit trickier. So what I'm going to do is this. I'm going to talk about the surface area, but the first thing we have to pay attention to is there's a top and a bottom, but they're circles. So the area of a circle is pi r squared. But because we have a top and a bottom, we're going to say 2 pi r squared. Now, we actually have to worry about the actual cylinder itself, this part here, right? And this takes a little bit of imagination, but if you imagine like a toilet paper roll, if you cut up a toilet paper roll and then unroll it, what you'll have is you'll have it unroll into a rectangle. But this is what unrolls, and that is the circumference. Well, remember, the circumference is equal to 2 pi r. And what we still have is the height. So the area of the actual cylinder, not the top or the bottom, is going to be a rectangle, but it's 2 pi r times the height. If you can't remember that, so 2 pi r h, that's how you can kind of extract it. So now I'm just going to do some substitution. Surface area equals 2 pi, the radius was 4, so it's going to be 4 squared plus 2 pi times 4 times 10, which gives me, once again, you should be trying this on your own, so if you need to pause, go ahead and do so. 4 squared is 16 times 2, it's going to be 32 pi, plus 2 times 4 is 8, times 10 is 80, so it's going to be 80 pi. So 32 pi plus 80 pi is 112 pi, and it's centimeters squared. But once again, we need to change that into a rational approximation. No, where'd my calculator? I just want my calculator. Oh, I see. Maybe I don't see. Oh, maybe I do see. There it is. 112 pi becomes 351.86. 351 and 80. Whoa. And 80. Goodness me. And 86 hundredths centimeters squared. So that's it. Once again, I'm going to quickly highlight the things that are kind of important here, or maybe not highlight. I will at least circle them. Well, yeah, I'll highlight them. Why not? So it's this formula, this formula, this formula, and that was kind of funny. I'll do some blue. This formula. Really, what you need to know is all you have to do is know the formulas and then substitute in the values and multiply and add sometimes. That's it. I hope this video helps, and we will see you next time.